Was good. This is Zeph Solis, and I dropped out of Professor Xavier's School for Higher Learning. You might see me in front of an ATM that I made to look like a bunch of money's coming out of it. No, Krak'n doesn't necessarily have to do with Krak'n cards. I've never been into that myself at all. I value my freedom highly. But nah, it's more about cracking the loop. I had another song called Loop Crack. You know, I'm big on the concept of like breaking cycles, breaking loops. We all get stuck in loops and cycles, you know. And yeah, you know, it's kind of like breaking out of the system. Whatever that may mean to you. One of my biggest strengths has always been being different and not trying so hard to be different, but naturally being that. You know, that's how I was. That's one of the main things I was known for in the Bronx. And as weird as it sounds, it got me a lot of places. You know, I think a lot of people looked at me as like a breath of fresh air. And I didn't realize that until like my mid to late teens. And then I started using that as like a strength. As rappers, we don't have to flex about the same shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? I got this Celine, I got Balenci, I got the money and the bitches and the, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many other interesting things about you that you could flex. I'm one of the main artists to open up those doors for the next wave of rappers coming through to talk about different shit. If you don't act on an idea fast enough, someone else is going to come up with the same idea. And in 2017, I was in Florida living with my grandmother for a little while to heal up from major surgery. I almost died of Crohn's. I'm from New York. I'm used to moving around, so there's no buses or trains. I got my car. I'm out. I've always been heavy into studying the supernatural. So I found out about this occult bookstore in Daytona Beach, and I went with my cousin Ty, and he originally told me that they had some special camera that you can pay them and you sit in the seat, and it's like a magnetic seat, and it uses a spectral camera, and it can show you the colors of your aura, and then you kind of look up like what those colors mean for you. And, you know, studying all of that and hearing that word aura and learning what aura means, how that's like basically the vibe you're radiating, whether you have a bad vibe, whether you have an awkward vibe, or whether you have a great vibe, a fun vibe to be around. It's aura. So I told my cousin, joking around, I said, yo, I should start using aura like how people use swag. I would use it here and there, but not so much in music like that. You know what I'm saying? But in real life, I would use it. And then right around the time I started using it in music, I'm hearing my son talking about it all the time. My son is 16, and he's huge into like what they consider underground rap. Like his favorite rapper right now is probably Che. He listens to all of that, Netspin, Osama Son, all of that. And he's, you know, aura this, aura that. And then I start seeing it in post, like Babalam and like Hyper Pop Daily and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? I start hearing aura this, aura that. So I found it funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be like Soulja Boy. I did that first. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I just found it funny because I know how collective conscious works. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why, like ideas and imagination is like Wi-Fi. It's in the ethers. And if you don't make it popular, someone else will take your idea and make it popular. So yeah, all in my heart, all in my mind, my aura. So the secret ooze, Ninja Turtles. I grew up on Ninja Turtles. You know what I'm saying? I'm a millennial. Oh no, cooties. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I grew up on early Ninja Turtles, the movies and shit. And that combined with growing up on X-Men, anybody that knows me from when I first started making music back in like 2008, a common theme was being a mutant or being mutated. And you know, that was my way of speaking about being a hybrid of many things, and that making you something that's so extraordinary that it's strange. I'm The timing. The fucking timing. Yay, why do you do this to us? Why do you do this? I mean, obviously, he don't give a fuck about nobody but himself, so it's pretty obvious why he does that. I've been wanting to rap since I was like 14. But I was sponsored as a skateboarder at the time by a skate shop. Shout out all my bros from Premium Skate Shop. Because I lived in Florida for a little while. And, I was born and raised in the Bronx, and then eventually went to Florida for a little while, and then I went back to the Bronx, spent the rest of my life in the Bronx. But, that little bit of time I lived in Florida, I was sponsored, and a lot happened with Crohn's disease. I got sick, and, I could have bounced back easily and got back into skateboarding, but that experience of me not being able to eat and hearing Kanye talking about not being able to eat on Through the Wire helped me. That music helped me in some sort of spiritual and even psychological way to get through that situation, being in the hospital. And I wanted to do that for other people.
As much as people have raised you up and propped you up to be this musical genius that you are, I think he's going to find out that people find and support other musical geniuses just as fast, and they'll stop supporting you.
Who knows if it's perfect timing that he did what he did, and now I'm doing what I'm doing.
He's going to have to deal with a very hard reality after this one of how fast and quickly people can and will move on to something and somebody else.
James Brown, in the way he danced, in the style of music he made, inspired a young Michael Jackson before the Jackson 5 got signed. Then Michael Jackson got older and older and older and kind of took that inspiration and mutated it into something completely new, to the point where he was nothing like James Brown by the time Off the Wall came out and Thriller. You know what I'm saying? He was nothing like him, but you could see that he technically was the 2.0 of what James Brown was doing. He was the evolution of what James Brown was doing, even though he was nothing like him. He didn't look like James Brown. He didn't dress like James Brown. He didn't dance like him, maybe a tiny bit, and his music didn't sound like James Brown music, but you still felt like he was the 2.0 of James Brown. And that's how I feel that people are going to try to make sense of what I'm doing, and that's the best way to try to get people to understand what I'm doing. I do fashion. I make my own clothes. I sew my own clothes. I customize my own clothes, as you see. My grandmother taught me how to sew. Much love to my grandmother in the spirit realm, Grandma Judy. I do all my own artwork. Since I started making music, I made my own beats because I was inspired by Pharrell and Kanye, and they had a specific sound that was unique. So I started making beats at the same time that I started really trying to make music and record as a rapper. Once in a blue, like this beat, I'll get on other people's beats, but a lot of times I go on my own stuff to make sure it sounds different. My idea is to push culture. Like, this is just me warming up. All of this that I'm doing, this gets bigger and bigger, you're gonna see how much I push the envelope, kind of like what David Bowie did for rock music in the 70s and in the 80s. I'm gonna push what hip hop and music in general could sound like, what it could look like. And that's what Kanye was at the time. You know what I'm saying? And he was the fashion guy. He was the art guy. He did his own art direction, even if he had other people doing the graphics. He was a full creative 360. So that's why I say James Brown to MJ is Ye to me. I'm the new favorite. So that chant means so many things. We're gonna be here all day if I break that down, but over the years, to get my health right, from what I've studied, to get my mental health right, and realizing that the gut is a second brain. So whatever you put in your stomach affects your brain chemistry, and how a lot of people are kind of stupefied and in a daze, not just because of technology, it's because of what they ingest on a daily basis, whether it be fluoride in the toothpaste, fluoride in the water, preservatives in the food, too much sugar, that's causing low circulation, not enough blood flowing to your brain.
The nervous system in the human body has the capacity to manufacture a pharmacy of chemicals that works equal to or better than any drug. That's what our data shows.
Deficient in vitamins and minerals, and now you're wondering why you're anxious and depressed. High fructose corn syrup, more anxiety, more depression, nervousness, you know what I'm saying, cause all that. The basis of everything is chemical. This is why music artists do drugs. This is why so many people do drugs. This is why shaman use psychedelics. This is why people in Qigong and Buddhism and Hinduism, they practice breathing techniques to get into altered states of mind. You know, it's all about altering your brain chemistry. If you can alter your brain chemistry, you can alter your experience. Because the only reason why you see things the way you see it is because of the chemicals in your brain. If you don't have enough nutrients and vitamins, you're not going to be producing enough serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals. So you're going to feel like you're on hell on earth. You're going to look at the worst in everything. But if you have all your vitamins and nutrients in order in your body, and you're giving yourself the things you need, your brain is producing all this dopamine and serotonin, that dope, that natural dope. And you're just going to feel so good. You're going to feel like you're in a weird, twisted version of heaven on earth. That's the real pandemic, is that everybody's brain chemistry is fucked up. So that is the emergency. If a lot of people could fix their brain chemistry, I think that could make a lot of shifts in society. It sounds stupid, but trust me, it affects your decision making and how you act on a daily basis when you interact with the world. Pressure makes diamonds. I went through a lot with Crohn's. I've had like 3 different major surgeries. I've had a piece of my intestines removed and my intestines reconnected about 3-4 different times. Just recently, I had such a major surgery that I had complications. I needed another last minute surgery, and I had a shit bag attached to me. Thank God that wasn't permanent. I feel for anybody, much love to anybody that has dealt with an ostomy bag, especially if it's permanent. Y'all are true badasses for being able to deal with that. You are strong, you're resilient. Much love to y'all. I admire y'all, because that's not easy. That is, oh man, the maintenance. Imagine having to go out and change a bag full of shit. It don't stink, thank God, but you know. And I've been in and out of mental hospitals, been psychiatrically evaluated, never had bipolar, schizophrenic, none of that. It was always for anxiety and depression, but I was there, you know, for ideation, you know, on myself, you know, and I was there. And I met a lot of people that's going through it way worse than me, you know. It was like I felt like a comic book character. I used to grab the gate and look out the window in the Bronx and see Manhattan skyline across, thinking about getting out the mental hospital. You know, and then there was some girl that had a crush on me in there. She was bipolar, I think, and schizophrenic. And I'm like this gripping the gate. She must have thought she was Harley Quinn or something. She put her head up next to me, is looking up at me. Yo, I've lived some weird shit, man. I got so many stories. This is just the beginning. But yeah, so pain made me strange and amazing. Doctor Strange, whole game rearranging. I'm about to rearrange all this shit. The same way a Pharrell did. The same way Kanye did. You know what I'm saying? It's not only because I could relate to a Pharrell or a Kanye style, you know, because they were so different from all the gangster rap that was out at the time, but it's because they changed and shifted culture in such a big way, and that's the biggest flex. There's so many different things you could show off about as a rapper, but have you really shifted culture in a major way? For example, Wayne, you know, he shifted culture to the point where he basically gave birth to the whole SoundCloud era. Face tats, the subject matter, the auto-tune while you sound drugged out, like all that shit, even the style of production. So, you know, whole games, Doctor Strange, whole game rearranging. I just let the artwork talk. You ain't really feeling yourself. You just a master at debating. Oh man. Doctor Strange, your game rearranging. I just let the artwork talk. You ain't really feeling yourself. You just a master at debating. It's a replicate what they get. No heart, not even the chrome. Double crosses, scrap for scraps. Even most these labels is dread. Everybody want to wear chrome hearts, right? I'm not trying to shit on chrome hearts. I've actually been to the Chrome Heart store downtown in Manhattan. I love the way they have it set up. It looks like a warehouse. like dim lit warehouse. I love the way the Chrome Heart store looks. No heart. Like y'all got no heart. Not even a chrome. Y'all double cross and scrapping for scraps. Even most these labels is trap. Who the fuck really want that?
Not even the chrome. Double cross and scrapping for scraps. Even most these labels is trap. Who the fuck really want that? Young city's prince at last. I just won't continue through the mad. Virus in the
Double cross, like the two crosses on Chrome Hearts. You know what I'm saying? Yo. Eventually people's gonna catch on to the grade, the level of grade of how high my bars is at. And the crazy thing is, when I'm in a zone, like this shit comes out quick as I'm typing, you know what I'm saying, as I'm writing. It comes out quick and I'll see afterwards, holy shit, that was like a quadruple entendre. That shit had like 4 meanings to it. Moving contagious all over the map. Spring, especially spring, summer, I hibernated for the winter. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting together music. Starting to get to connect with y'all a little more. Y'all get to know me a little more. Because I've been on some mysterious shit for the whole time I've been making music. And that's what I'm doing for the winter. But yeah, summer, I'm going to be everywhere. I'm going to be moving contagious. Leaving.
Who the fuck really want that? Young city's prince at last. I just won't continue through the mad. Virus in the matrix when I snap. Who the fuck really want that? Young city's prince at last. I just won't continue through the mad.
What's crazy too, I said virus in the matrix when I snap. And I wanted to put, the beat kind of rocked after I said that for a little while. And I wanted to put like a special effect. And I was thinking maybe I'll put like a computer crashing or something like digital, sound like a virus in the computer. But I was like, nah, that's too like on the nose. That's too like exactly what I was talking about. That would be corny. So I was like, how can I do something more subtle that represents that energy, that vibe? And I said, oh, so I did a special effect of a match being struck. You could hear it in the song. And then like it sounded like it was being thrown on gasoline and everything was on fire. Mind you, this was probably like a couple of weeks before the LA fires. So when I did the visualizer for the song, I had found, somebody just happened to make a visualizer of somebody standing in front of like a cabin in the woods and it was on fire and the whole woods was on fire. That's exactly what the effect I put in the song. Oh, I'm putting that. So I put that in there. And you know, as you've seen, people saying that it's a wildfire. Other people have found proof that it was arson and some shady shit going on. I just found it weird that I had put that song out in that visual like a week or two before the LA fires, before that happened. So that was kind of crazy. But yeah, that's Krak'n. You already know.